Hello everyone and welcome back to Complete and Total Random. Today I'm going to be going over how to not only play the Moz in War Thunder, but how to unlock it in the tech tree. Which is quite simple, so we'll start with that. Essentially all you need to do is have the ability to research rank 5 vehicles, so that means you'll have to have completed enough of rank 4 to be able to research rank 5 vehicles. You don't necessarily need to have completed any other rank 5 itself, but as long as you can research rank 5, you're good to go. And then on the 31st of October, usually around there, every year is the anniversary events for War Thunder. During this time, the Moz will appear over here in the tech tree, and then you can just start researching it. As long as you put 1 point of research into the Moz, you can research it at any point. The event usually, I believe, it runs from like the 31st of October to the 7th of November each year, which is how you get the Moz itself. And now on to how to play it. The Moz is not only is the heaviest tank in game, which leads to it having some very unique drawbacks. It has an extremely large amount of armor. This is also the largest heavy tank ever built by weight, weighing over 188 metric tons. And as you can see, the Moz has quite a bit of armor. 180 millimeters on the sides, 200 millimeters sloped on the fronts, and 232 on the turret face, and then 205 on the sides of the turret. This gives it actually quite a lot of armor, but you just have to be careful of how you use it. Just like all of the KV tanks and the other square body heavy tanks, it has quite a lot of armor frontally. In fact, you don't really want to ever go for the front plate. Protection analysis is broken right now by the looks of it, because the Moz does not have 600 millimeters armor. But essentially, when you're playing the Moz, you want to keep the entire thing angled, because it dramatically increases your survivability. And the same goes for your turret, because your main weak spot on your turret is right here. Now, protection analysis is a little broken right now, but usually this is quite hard and hard to pen. So if you're shooting it with conventional rounds, usually just a shot here will take out your tank, knock out your gunner and your loader, and sometimes your commander. The Moz itself is unique in the fact that it is quite hard to overpressure with APHE, given the amount of space between the crew and up front in the hull here, the driver and machine gunner, I guess. I'm not really sure what this crew member is supposed to operate. But there's the extremely large amount of space between those two crew members, and the 4 in the back means that it's almost impossible to one-shot the Moz without ammo racking it. The Moz also has the unique feature of having 2 cannons, the 75 and the 128. The 75 doesn't have very good pen, but it's enough that you can deal with light targets with it. I wouldn't recommend bringing much ammo for it. Some people will bring HE or smoke shells. I personally don't find them very useful, so I only bring the heat. The Moz also has a couple ammo types, and the one I would recommend is the 128/88. This is, from what I understand, it's essentially kind of like a Sabo round, but it's using like a flak 88 shell, or the 88 shell out of the 128 barrel. I'm not really sure how it works. I haven't really looked into it, but I'd say by far this is the best just because of its pen. It doesn't have as much explosive mass, but it still has quite a lot of explosive mass in the shell, making it extremely useful, especially when you're facing against other heavy tanks. Most tanks around its BR and will struggle, and then in down tiers almost everything will struggle against you. But if you get bounced up to higher BRs, Most things, especially heat slingers, are able to just pen straight through, clean through your tank. So I think it's about time that I kind of show you it in practice. Now, one unique feature of the Moz is its speed. It's extremely slow, 20 km an hour, top speed. This means that when playing, you'll need to be very careful of where you position yourself, because if you overextend, you won't be able to retreat in time. As well as it means that you got to be very careful of where you're going, because if you end up on your own, it's very easy to get wiped out in the Moz. It is quite a slow vehicle, but it also has an extremely good gun, and I think it's probably one of the best guns at this BR, especially with that 88 kind of Sabo round. And for the history of this vehicle, essentially, during 1944, the Nazis were basically trying to build a lot of their wonder weapons. One of those projects was the Moz, a 188-ton tank designed to be impervious to enemy fire. Though, given its slow weight and speed, its weight and speed would have essentially made it kind of useless, given that it wouldn't have been able to really cross any bridge or river due to its weight, because I have no doubt that this thing would get stuck easily in the mud. Now, as you can see, usually you'll arrive late to a battle, so I would always take time and make sure you're paying attention to the map as you go. And as you approach it, you'll want your corner of both your turret and your tank hull to be facing the enemy, allowing you to push forwards into them and bounce their shots. Vehicles with heat shells and ATGMs aren't worth pushing because of your slow speed. It makes it extremely hard to be aggressive in this tank. Because as you can see, even just crossing around corners and stuff, because my turret's in the center, it takes so long to actually get my tank into a position where it can... Max 50 Foch. Oh, hello. Now, as you can see, I do have the 75. I have it set to a separate control, so I can try and aim for their tracks. Got his track, so now he's stuck there. And then I turn my turret when I'm reloading, because of its long reload. It'll make it harder for him to actually penetrate my armor. And then I'll bring my gun on the barrel once it's ready. Fine, you can sit there if you want to take out my barrel. Sometimes it's not even worth trying to retreat because of the long amount of time it'll take. Hopefully I can out-repair him and take out his hull. Though that's probably one of the most armored things you'll see. A lot of people are quite scared of the Doom Turtle, but the Moz with the 88 Sabo shell can actually go straight through his hull on the flat spot right there. And one shot. Making it quite a potent tank. Now I just need to be careful because I can see there's a light tank, and light tanks and things that can flank around you are the bane of your existence in this. Because as you can see, it's quite hard to push because it's very easy to get side shot. I didn't even realize that guy was there. Where was he? Ooh. Now, he's actually not too scary because this shell can also go straight through the front of him. But he can also go straight through our turret, in our turret cheek, so we gotta be very careful when fighting him. And as you can see, the slow crawl of this tank makes it take quite a long time to get anywhere. So it's usually you're better off just standing and sitting somewhere where you know enemies are going to come to. Let them come to you in a defensive position, because in a defensive position the Moz is extremely strong, but it's very weak on the offensive due to its lack of maneuverability. I almost just kind of treat it as a bunker that I kind of plonk somewhere on the map and then use to essentially just hold a point or a position. Ooh, is that an enemy over there? So yeah, as we slowly trundle along, you always want to take your route. With things like the Moz, since it's so slow, you want to avoid turning as much as you can. So you kind of want to get yourself set up on your course and then just let your tank go. And bombs are not as much of a problem as you may think, given your extremely heavy armor. It makes it quite hard for bombs to pen you, even if, as you can see, sometimes they'll literally land right on top of you. A lot of people, I'd say, dismiss the Moz due to its slow speed, but I do find that it is quite an enjoyable tank to play. It has a very interesting playstyle because of its speed and armor. And in a down tier, it's very easy to just kind of push your way through the entire enemy team. Now, I wish I could help person up there, but I'm sure he will be wiped out before I get over there. And that's kind of just how you have to play the Moz. Take it slow, always be really careful to not get tracked. It is quite hard to track the Moz because of the amount of armor sitting above the tracks. If you are facing a Moz, it's best to usually just go for a track if you can't pen it frontally. Or wait for your turret to come onto bear onto, or their turret to come onto bear onto you, so their turret cheeks are facing you to be able to penetrate. But yes, the Moz comes out every single year. It is the anniversary event that happens, part of the anniversary event that happens every single year in October. As I said before, usually there's a couple more vehicles you can grind out among this time, so it's quite worth just putting some research points into the Moz if you want it and getting it going. Or even if you just play Germany, just get a point or two into it so you can kind of start researching it. But yeah, you can see just how long it takes for the Moz to get anywhere in a match. But you can see how potent the firepower is on this, given that a lot of tanks struggle to penetrate and deal with the T-95, but this can just shoot straight through the front of them. The same goes for the Foch. As long as their upper hull isn't at an angle to you, you can usually shoot into it because you're sitting so much higher than them, and just penetrate through their armor. I do, and then as you can see, I try and keep my tank angled at all times to whatever I'm pushing for the most part. But if I know there's no enemies in the area, I'm not going to worry too much about it. One thing you can do with the Moz, well, since it's got such a slow speed, it also has the unique thing that even though it doesn't have a stabilizer, as you can see, my guns are extremely stable, so I can get shots off at max speed on enemy targets. So one thing that you can do is, if you're pushing, don't even bother coming to a stop to shoot at enemies. Just keep moving, and you should be fine just to snap your shots off. Unless it's something where you need to get really precise shots, I wouldn't recommend worrying about it. Though it's also important to be mindful to not overextend when doing that. Continuously moving while running the mods helps quite a bit to avoid them shooting your turret cheeks. Though it isn't that much of a shock and awe vehicle like some of the other faster heavy tanks can be, especially the ones with stabilized guns. It is quite good for the sole fact that it just has so much armor and such a big gun. Given that this gun usually will one-shot enemy tanks. You know, I do find it funny though that a building can stop the Moz, but the Moz weighs more than the building. Ooh, and there's an XM800T over here. I'd like to say hello. Wow, he is wiping our whole team. Oh my goodness, he is literally just wiping our whole team. I'm coming for him. If I can get there in time, I can just wipe him off the face of the earth. Because there's nothing we can do. As you play the Moz, you'll be able to kind of figure out the things that can and cannot penetrate you. Just like other heavy tanks, and what type of tanks are worth pushing and what types of tanks are worth letting just come into you. Yeah, our T-55. What is that, a T-55 over there? No, our Leopard 1 is struggling. But that's fine, I'm here to help. Now with things like the XM800T, since I know it can't pen me, I'm just gonna push it. Oh, I didn't get a chance, but I was gonna push it and take it out. Hopefully you all found this video informative. If you guys have any questions about the Moz event and when it comes out or anything, let me know. And if you guys have any other vehicles you guys would like me to go over and show tactics for, just let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.